Well, welcome to today's presentation. I'm really excited to get into some great marketing ideas that I think everyone can put to use right away. Before we get started, let me give you some quick background. I'm Chip Broyles, Business Development Manager here at RESMARK Systems, and I have with me our founder, Brandon Lake. Now, Brandon brings with him some unique insights to this topic as he helps run some very successful tour companies. Western River Expeditions, who operates multi-day rafting trips in Utah and in the Grand Canyon, as well as Moab Adventure Center that sells day trips of all kinds out of Moab, Utah. Also, through RESMARK, our reservation and marketing system, we have some great insights as to the sales and marketing strategies that have proven successful for other companies. Brandon will share some of those today as well. Now, before I turn things over to Brandon, let's start with a statistic. Some of you have seen the latest America Outdoors Association annual survey, and there was one. This latest survey found that 68% of America Outdoors members experienced an increase in profits this last year, which is great for the outdoor travel industry. And my favorite question on the survey was this: what contributed to the increase in profits? Well, here are the results. Now, there's several items here that we can't control, but look at the impact that a few of these things had. Creating successful online marketing strategies, 30%, improving direct sales, 21%, and improving customer service. All of this had a huge impact on profits, and this is where we want to focus today. Now, the world of marketing and sales can, of course, be complicated. You have to watch your spelling when selling things like maters, taters, cucumbers, peaches, yellow squash, zucchini. This is for my brothers in Nashville. You have to be careful of things like your ad placement. Diabetes, straight ahead. You have to be careful of what happens when you open your door. And of course, what happens if you leave your window down. You have to take into account all the other signs around you. You have to be careful of your translation. And of course, we always want to figure out and pay attention to which direction our ad is actually going to run when it's up. So in the world of online marketing, things can be even more complicated. So let's dig in. Brandon?
Thanks for the great intro, Chip. Now, we've got a lot to cover, so here we go. I put together 29 concrete ideas. Now, the first idea is this: don't drive on your concrete when it's wet. Can you believe this guy? Look, this is what driving on the phone can do for you right here. He got quite a ways down there before he realized what was going on, I think. So let's talk about some true concrete marketing ideas here. So we're going to cover a lot of information here. I'm going to share ideas for video, email, Facebook, reviews, mobile websites, all kinds of good stuff. So here we go. Our first topic is video. Now, in the world of travel and tourism, video is huge. Video views for tourist destinations is growing exponentially. But as a result, it's driving the creation of a lot more video content. So we have a lot more to compete with out there. And our videos can get buried and not get many views as a result. So here are a couple ideas to help. First, create how-to videos. Now, of course, this isn't the only type of video content you should have, but this can be a really interesting thing to create. Take a look at this. Lowe's sells solutions to home improvement in their store. Now, you might think they would post videos of the best snow blowers or lawnmowers or new grills or patio furniture, right? The products they sell. But instead, they do this. They create a campaign on Vine called Lowe's Fix in 6. Now, what these are, for those not familiar with Vine, Vine has 6-second videos, very short, and they could be whatever you want. But so they took this idea of home improvement, and they created more than 50 6-second videos on how to fix common household problems. How to use tinfoil to create a paint tray liner, how to use a rubber band for a stripped screw, how to keep squirrels away from your plants with a dash of cayenne pepper. They're all super helpful tips. And interestingly, they're not really selling anything in the store. Lowe's sells paint tray liners in their store, of course, and they're telling you you can use tinfoil instead. So really helpful. Now, what were the results? So initially, they posted 50 of these videos, and they received 55 million impressions. Now, do you think Lowe's is more top of mind for people when they need to fix something? Absolutely. The point of this is that some of the best marketing content that is content that is really helpful and useful. And this is growing. Take a look at this. On YouTube alone, more than 100 million hours of how-to content have been watched in North America in just the first 5 months of 2015. So we decided to give this a try at Western River Expeditions. So I created a how-to-pack video for different trips. Now we use this on our website and in pre-trip emails. And it's a pretty basic video. It's probably way too long. Initially, when I recorded this video, I thought I would just get a few views from people who had questions about the packing list. But without really pushing it, in just a very short time, it jumped to over 13,000 views. Now, could you create something similar for your company? It doesn't have to be about packing, but anything you're an expert in, your destination, your activity, your unique knowledge of really anything. So once we've created some great content, that leads us to the next question. How do I make my videos easier to find? And this leads me to my next tip here. Caption and transcribe your video content. Now, caption mistakes are nothing new. And this is something that YouTube will actually try to do automatically. And sometimes you end up with stuff like what we see on TV all the time. These caption mistakes can turn your standard weather forecast into something much more shocking. It's a good thing the sunshine will come out tomorrow. Or it can turn things into total nonsense. Now, I don't know what this guy was saying, but it came out like this in the caption. My cats got weeded down again. Otherin said, they don't get wadded down. Now, what in the world this guy really said, I have no idea. But YouTube is automatically creating captions for your video. So what happens if they get it wrong? Well, here's what happened to one of our videos that YouTube automatically captioned. Boat ride, beautiful sunsets are the bad guys. And they were funny. Right there on front of the robo. Now, Google might think this video we just posted is about bad guys and robots instead of river guides and rowboats. Will that influence my search results? Of course it will. They don't really have any idea what the content is about besides trying to decipher beyond, you put a title on the video, but beyond trying to figure out what the content is actually talking about, that's part of what's used in the search algorithm. So, what do you do about it? Well, you can go on to YouTube Help and just do a quick search for add subtitles and closed captions, and you'll find some instructions on how to fix this on your videos. You can download the captions, fix them, and upload them again. You just need some fairly simple tools to do that. So, that's captions. Now, the next part is transcriptions. You can add transcriptions right in your description field. Okay, so the transcription is just somebody typing out what is said in the video. Pretty easy to do. You're not really having to create new content there. Or you can add them directly on your website if you're posting videos there. You can see right below the video, we've added a full transcript for each video. We had a really great intern with us this last summer, and I had her go through and create all these for every one of our videos. So, pretty easy way to create more content for the website. So the results of doing this are interesting. A study by LiveClicker compared 37 web pages before and after adding transcripts. Now, pages with transcripts earned on average 16% more revenue than they did before transcripts. That's pretty interesting. And I think not only are there reasons to do this for search, but if it can make your pages even more effective in terms of earning revenue, pretty low-hanging fruit, very easy thing to do. Our next topic is one of the most effective yet most often overlooked forms of marketing. This next topic here is our customers. Now, most of the time we're so focused on what we can do to get more of them into the funnel that we forget about the incredible opportunity coming out of the bottom of the funnel. We work really hard to get our customers into the boat. Then we dump them out right after the sale. And we miss the opportunity of staying with them to make our service even better and to help them share their experience after it's over. So, what can we do about it? This is our idea number 3. Automate pre-trip emails to your guests. Now, many of us book things very last minute and our window is fairly short, but Most of us take at least some of our bookings in advance, and it creates a really great opportunity for us. So I recently took a 3-day Grand Canyon trip with my son, and I got to know everyone on the trip. And I love going on our trips because I get to hear feedback, especially about marketing and the things we're doing. And one day I was sitting next to Betsy, this woman in green on the back row, and she tells me, we travel quite a bit, and I've never had such a fantastic service with all the perfectly timed information you sent just before my trip. You sent me a full summary of the trip details. You emailed a packing list just as I was starting to think about packing. We had questions about what camera to bring, and you emailed a video about the best camera options for the river. You sent a weather forecast and helpful last-minute tips at just the right time. We loved that each one of them was divided up into small chunks and sent at just the right time over the course of our preparation. Now, internally, each of these small chunks, of course, are automated through RESMARK, and we can send them out just before departure, however many days we want to send them out. And that could be, just a few days. In our case, we send it out several weeks in advance because these people are booking quite a far in advance. So we're staying with our guests from the booking to departure. And this gives us consistent, fantastic service for every single guest, and they absolutely love it. So, do we bail out at this point? No. We have another huge opportunity. We've got these people on the trip already, and now it's time for us to automate post-trip emails to guests. So, what can we do here? Well, we automate emails up to 1 year after the trip when we send a happy anniversary email. Now, these can be very powerful emails as we know more about our guests and we can send them the right information at the right time. But perhaps one of the most useful areas for these emails happens right after the trips. What do we all love to have right after the experience? Reviews. Now, how many of you are focused on getting at the top rankings in TripAdvisor or Yelp or getting great reviews on your pages? I imagine that's important to every single one of us. And this brings us to idea number 4. Solicit the best reviews automatically. So, how do we do it? I'll share you a story from Anacortes Kayak Tours. So these guys did something really great that really helped their TripAdvisor rankings. They send out an initial email right after the trip for the guests to fill out a quick survey. The survey has just a few questions on it, but it gives them a score. And if the score is really good, then they prompt the people to share a review on TripAdvisor. If it's really bad, they'll actually just handle it and resolve the situation. And the impact for them has been awesome. They were able to triple the number of TripAdvisor reviews they had before using RESMARK, and they gained the #1 spot in TripAdvisor for Anacortes. Now, this is one of the most powerful forms of marketing, and it's a great way to facilitate sharing for our customers. No matter where they share it, it creates some of the most powerful online content for our business. So let's talk about content for just a moment. The right content is critical for our rankings in search engines and for the effectiveness of our sales. Now, Google really likes it when we're constantly creating new content. But for me in our business, that can be a huge challenge. We're dealing with other things in our business. There's all kinds of marketing we have to be dealing with. And creating new content on the website is kind of difficult. And I'm sure a lot of us struggle with that. So we actually came up with something to solve this. And it was this: let your customers create content. So here's what we did. RESMARK sends out an automatic email shortly after the trip asking our guests to share their story or their favorite photo on our website. A little bit different than a review here. This is more about something tangible within their experience mixed with a photo, which I think is the really powerful part of this. So what happens is they click through from the email onto our website, and there they write a post and they upload an image. We then get notified, and we can review and edit the post before we publish it. Now, as soon as we publish, the guest receives an email notifying them that their post is live on our website. And, this is the key, they're prompted to share it. So now we have all of these posts that are online, and people can come in and click any of those share buttons to share it with their friends. And what happens when their friends see that in Facebook or whatever, they're actually, instead of just looking at the post, they're clicking through to the person's nice little story, and they're actually already inside our website, which then we can direct the link off to a page. So not only does it create a ton of content for us, but it's the best kind of landing page I could ever think of, where their friend has written a page inside our website and they're now looking at it. So the result of this for us, over 3,000 new pages have been created by our guests on our website. They've been shared thousands of times, and we've used the same process for photo contests and other types of customer-driven posts. Now, this wasn't cheap. We spent over $50,000 to $60,000 on this since we started using it. But here's some good news for everybody. We've actually rebuilt this process on WordPress, so we won't have any more ongoing costs. And if anyone is interested in using this, we'll actually share it with you for free. So just send us an email after the presentation, and it's not totally ready for the, to just be plugged in on the website. We're working on finalizing all of that right now, but we'll let you know as soon as that is ready. So this whole process of generating this content or getting the reviews, it depends on what? Having an email address for as many guests as possible. And this brings us to our next tip, which is, of course, get an email address for every guest. Now, emails are easy to get for customers, but they're not always easy to get for every single guest. Now, this is the best way that we've found to get an email for nearly every adult guest. Digital waivers. Now, there are plenty of options out there now for this, and it has become widely accepted and in many cases preferred over paper waivers. Very simply, each guest is required to read and individually sign the document. They are emailed a copy of the waiver, which helps us get valid email addresses versus the illegible stuff that we used to try and key in, but we never got around to doing all of it. And it sat in boxes and file cabinets versus having an organized database. Now, the result of all this for us, our email database has actually tripled with more valid email addresses. This makes our pre- and post-trip email efforts way more effective and helps us increase our return business. So if you're not using a digital waiver program, you should really consider signing up for one. RESMARK, of course, is integrated with WaiverSign. You can sign up for WaiverSign independent of RESMARK as well. It's a great service and allows you to digitize these waivers and helps with your storage, email collection, everything. And I found that our guests really love that, and it has so many advantages over paper. So let's hit a few ideas on another topic. Facebook marketing. Now, I assume most of us have a business Facebook page, but how many of you wish your post could reach more of your fans? Now, according to Facebook, there are over 1,500 stories possible that you could see every day in your own newsfeed. However, because we'd go crazy seeing 1,500 of these, only 300 of them actually make it to our screen. So, what makes the difference? It's how much engagement your followers have with you and how engaging your posts are. Now, by engagement, I'm talking about likes, shares, comments. So how do we get more of this? Well, there are 6 ways we can post on Facebook. Now, for our industry, some of the easiest and most effective are photos and videos. And this leads me to our next tip. Get creative with your photos. Check out this post from Walmart. Now, it's a photo post, but they're interacting with their customers to either click like to vote for pumpkin or share to vote for apple. Now, the result, nearly 300,000 likes and 21,000 shares. But the point is, it's an interactive post with a photo, right? We all have great photos we can post, but doing something like this with it can make it even more effective. You could upload a fun picture and simply write, caption this. Here's a couple of examples. Try a fill-in-the-blank post with your photo. Here are some great examples from Pepsi and Disney. And another one from Oreo. So what difference do these kinds of posts make? Well, these are some results from a case study with Jackson Kayak. So take a look at this. Multiple choice posts got 111 more comments on average. 5 photo posts asking for captions garnered 1,069 comments. Fill-in-the-blank posts yielded 302% engagement. This stuff is huge, and it's very small things that can make a big difference. Now, here are a few more posts for Facebook and even other social platforms. Hashtags, exclamation points, and questions. Look at this. Posts with hashtags get 60% more interactions. Exclamation points get 2.7% more interactions. And posts with question marks get 23% more people engaging. So very small tweaks to this can make a big difference. Now here's a small test we tried. We spent $16 to reach 2,000 people, and we got 42 clicks to the site. Now it's not huge, but it amounts to 39 cents per click. Now that's better than we spend in some other areas. So that's something to look at. You could do this on a much larger scale and see, or you could do just a very small test for $15, $20 and see what happens. Now here's another Facebook test. Use Facebook video. Here's a comparison post using Facebook video upload inside Facebook versus using a link to a YouTube video inside Facebook. So which do you think gets watched more? It's pretty obvious, right? Look at this gigantic video on the left. It actually autoplays. The YouTube one doesn't. Obviously, they don't want to give that much presence to YouTube, and so it makes a difference. Look at these stats. Focus on the right-hand column. With a Facebook video over a YouTube video, your users are 2 times more likely to click, 3 times more likely to share, and 7 times more likely to comment. The result of which causes you to reach 2 times more people overall. Here's another idea. Try coupons in Facebook. Here are some real results from Harper's Ferry Adventure Center. Now they post these occasional coupons where you can use a promo code from RESMARK and push a deal to your Facebook fans. Now I don't know that it's the only thing driving sales from Facebook referrals, but take a look at these awesome results. Over 187 transactions and $10,000 is attributed to visits to their website coming from Facebook. And look at this conversion rate. 6.38% is their conversion rate. And you can see that right here under Facebook. And that's fantastic compared to the site average overall. Now, look at our last idea with Facebook here. Advertise with custom audiences. Now, how many of you are familiar with this? This is where getting as many emails as possible in your database really starts to make a difference. You basically upload a list of emails, and if they're Facebook users, you can target ads to them. Now, given the great memories that your customers will have of you, they're much more likely to share that content with their friends. But many of your customers may not have connected with you on Facebook. So this is a really great way to reach them. You can also upload your list and create a lookalike audience. Or you can add tracking code to your website and then cause your post to appear on the news feed of those people who just visited your website. Definitely something to test, and a way that you can get your customers or the friends of your prospects to market to their friends so you get noticed. So a lot of great ideas with Facebook there. And there are so many categories and strategies we could cover under online marketing, but here is one absolute. Most all of these efforts are there to drive traffic to one place, and that is our website. Why? Because it is there that a transaction can occur. And this brings us to our next big challenge. People are looking at our websites on their phones. Now, we no longer go online, we live online all the time. Look at these stats from Google. The average person checks their phone 150 times per day. They spend 177 minutes on their smartphone every day. Some people can't even go on a date without checking the cell phone at the table. And look at this. Mobile video views have grown by 400% in the last 2 years. This is huge. So how do we make our website the most effective as possible on mobile devices? I was in a conference in Las Vegas a couple months ago, and someone from Google shared these really simple tips, and I'm going to share them with you today. The first one is make calls to action front and center. What does that mean? Well, in our case, this is maybe our Book Now button or some sort of information request. And it's that button, that call to action. Make that front and center on mobile. Keep menus short and sweet. We've all been frustrated by big, long menus on mobile devices that are difficult to navigate. A long menu might work fine for desktop, and most of that same content can likely be presented on mobile, but you may need to create some categories and subcategories. The next is make it easy to get back to the home page. Now, there's one simple way to do this that we all understand, or most people do, and they usually expect to be able to click your logo, and that will take them back to the home page. So just make sure that your mobile website is doing that. Very simple. Make site search visible and easy. What am I talking about here? I'm talking about the little search bar that you may or may not have on your mobile website. Visitors are actually twice as likely to use site search on mobile versus desktop. I think we've been programmed to speak into our phones, to search things, and it's sometimes the quickest way to find something when we get to a website as well. So make sure that we have that on our mobile websites. The next thing is to get your site loading fast. This makes a huge difference on mobile. Check out how many more people abandon your site after each additional 2 seconds of load time. So this is a really big deal. Every few seconds that go by, we lose more and more people. They abandon our mobile website. They go back and find another one that might load faster that's not going to be as frustrating. Now last year, RESMARK Interactive redid a website for Mad River. Now their speed scores prior to this new site were really not that good. Now with the change, we were able to get a score on mobile of 91 out of 100. Now for those of you not familiar with this tool, it's called Google PageSpeed Insights, and you can actually find it by searching on, just go and do a Google search and it'll come right up, and you can plug your domain in there and see what kind of score you're getting. And if you want some help with that, we'd be happy to help you with some of the things that you can do. They'll give you suggestions right on there, but if you're not sure what that all means, give us a call and we can help walk you through it. Now, in addition to the speed increase, we tried to follow some of these other areas I've mentioned. So, what happened after the Mad River site was launched? Well, the number of page views viewed by each user went up by 47%. The visit time doubled from 3 minutes to 6 minutes. Amazing things can happen with some tweaks to your existing website or even a new website. This is one of the most valuable things we can do in our marketing and is well worth any investment in making your website perform better in any way. So another thing to watch on both your mobile and your desktop site is to ensure that the online booking process is fast and easy. If we spend all of this time making our site load fast, making it be user-friendly, but we don't focus on that booking process, then we've missed a huge opportunity. So we are getting more and more accustomed to buying things really fast online, right? Has anyone used any of these yet? It's the Amazon Prime Dash button. So when you run out of detergent, you just click this button and you just placed an online order. One click. Now, I haven't gotten one of these yet because I always envision one of my kids climbing up and just pushing the button over and over. And the guys down at the Amazon warehouse are saying, "Jim, looks like we got another shipment of 450 bottles of Tide for the lake home." Now, the point is, though, that the booking process on mobile and desktop is intuitive and fast. Now, a couple years ago, we actually went into the Moab Adventure Center and we changed that whole process to make it more mobile friendly. We tried to make the interface really intuitive and easy to use. The booking process very smooth. And the results after we implemented this process, we had 1.5 times more desktop bookings, 14 times more tablet bookings, and 18 times more mobile bookings. So this type of focus, just spending a little bit of time here, making the investment, can make a really big difference and is well worth it. So we're always looking for ways to get more of our people to book online. It saves us cost and it offers a great convenience to our customers. So here's an interesting idea from another one of our RESMARK clients to promote online booking. Now, Harpers Ferry Adventure Center did something that dramatically affected their river tubing operation. Now, traditionally, river tubing has been something that people just show up for, and they just wait in line, get their tube, and head on down the river. But on some days, as many as 1,000 people show up in a single day to go tubing. They stand in long lines to buy tubing passes, and it became the biggest complaint on TripAdvisor and other reviews. So, a little bit ago, they decided to offer a $5 discount for booking online. The result, 40% booked online in advance. That was over 5,000 guests that booked online, and that's huge for a business segment that usually is booked on the spot. Now, they also have waiver sign integrated. So they collected those 5,000 signed waivers in advance, and they hugely reduced their long lines. The review scores went up, and the result was happier customers. So that's something to think about if you find yourself wanting to increase the online bookings for whatever reason it may be. You could do something like that. So there you have several ideas to make your website more effective and increase your online bookings. But what if they don't book? So we all have this problem. And if someone calls us or goes on our website and they don't book, we don't want that to be the end of the story. Take a look at how many people visit your website every month. Take a look at how many of them book, how many of them inquire. It's likely that about 98% of them leave without you knowing anything about them. You spent a lot of time and money to get them there. So if you can't get them to book, try to get them to do something. Here's an idea from Nantahala Outdoor Center. If they don't book, get an email address. Now, Nantahala Outdoor Center did something very simple. They took the link that was at the bottom of their site to request a brochure, and they added it more prominently to their homepage and throughout the website as a secondary call to action of booking. Now, when someone clicks the link, they're brought to a form where they can choose between the corporate program guide, the group planning guide, the campus guide, or general information. Now, the result, they had a 6 times increase in leads. Now, this is for a brochure, which is probably pretty easy to produce. Most of us have them, but I do wonder if a brochure is the very best way to generate leads. It may be for several companies, but here's a couple other ideas for those who don't have a brochure or want to come up with something that might generate more leads. And this is a good thing to test. I mean, try different things to create leads and see what really works. See what your people get excited about. So get creative with your lead generation. Here's an offer that might appeal to someone who wants to learn Spanish. Now, I don't know that learning rude slang phrases is the safest idea to take with you as you travel, but certainly it would create some curiosity for some people. Cold Stone offers the ultimate inbox experience. Now, if you could really make ice cream like this appear right out of your email, that would be the ultimate experience. But instead, here's what they offer when you sign up. You get a coupon and exclusive offers. Here's another one. Denali Zipline offers the Talkeetna Insider's Guide, which I think is a really great idea, as it's not just a repurposing of information on your website, but it might contain some special information that you only get in the Insider's Guide and of the secrets that you know about your destination. Now, there's lots of variations of things that might help people to give you their email address, but some of this goes back to what we talked about at the very beginning with our how-to videos. Keep your content helpful. And if you can have helpful, useful things on your website to generate some of those leads, it's likely that people will be willing to give you an email address to get it. So come up with something that you can feature on your website to collect those inquiries. Some of the best landing pages are seeing an 11% conversion rate. Now, the average is just 2.35%. So this leads us to our next question. Once you've collected an email lead, what do you do with it? Well, we of course follow up with personalized messages. So at Moab Adventure Center, we use the Insider's Guide to generate leads. And we generate several thousand of these every year. And the guide contains information on where to eat, where to stay, what to do, and a few inside secrets. Now, people love it, and it's super easy to use on the phone too. When someone doesn't book, if we're on the phone and we can't complete that booking, we just ask if they'd like the Insider's Guide. Most of them will say yes. We email it to them, and they create an inquiry that way too. So we have a prominent call to action on our website. Now, when you click it, it opens up a form, and the customer fills it out and clicks continue. Then we ask a few very important questions. Who are you going with? How big will your group be? Will there be any children in your group? We then send emails that will be helpful to their planning of a vacation to Moab. Now, many of these include information about things that don't cost anything or aren't even offered by us. But the point is that they're very helpful. And they correlate with the interest they've expressed to us. So what happens when we do this? According to a recent study by Marketo, emails triggered at the right time with content tailored to the individual perform 3 times better in open rate, click-through rate, and the amount of revenue than any other type of email. So we want to make sure we're doing this type of email to nurture our leads and help them convert into sales. Now, Alaska Alpine Adventures implemented something really similar. They advertise a destination packet, and they automate a series of simple follow-up emails. Theirs led to a 25% lead conversion rate. Now, if you don't have a lead generation, lead follow-up process in place, make plans to use one this year. And you'll see, you may not get 25%, but you'll get something. And that's the point. So make sure that there's something in place there. So let's cover our last major topic here, phone sales. Now, most of us are involved in selling our trips over the phone in some way. Now, for a moment, I want you to consider yourself not as this pretty reservation agent, but as Robin Hood, with a quiver of several arrows that you can use. You hone in closer to your mark when you find out who are you traveling with? What do you want to do? When do you want to do it? Where do you want to go? Why are you most interested in doing this? And then you decide how you will unleash your arrow. Now, what choices do you have? Now, the first arrow is always the best choice, and it yields amazing results when we do it every time. We ask the question, can I book that for you? No? What's your email address? I'll send you our insider's guide that will help you with your plans. Oh, what's that? You're not ready to book right now? Let me put that space on hold for you for 48 hours so we don't lose it. Then it will be super easy to finalize your reservation when you call back. Oh, I can't take care of that reservation for you right now? Then you just shoot. No, there's actually one more option. Let me send you a link so you can book this as soon as you're ready. Now, this last one seems so simple, but look at these results. Winding Waters is a small company owned by a husband and wife team. They offer rafting trips in Idaho. Now, when Winding Waters takes a phone call, they find out which trip and date the person is interested in booking. Now, if they're not ready to book immediately, they offer to send them a direct link to book the departure they've been discussing. So that person gets that email, they click the link, and they go directly to the booking process for that exact date. And then they can complete the booking on their own. This is also really useful for groups. If you have a group organizer, you take that trip offline, get a direct booking link, send it to them, they advertise it with their group, and their group members can come in and just book and add themselves to that departure. Really great way to do both the over-the-phone sales to the individual or the group sales to the group organizer. So the result for Winding Waters of this whole process has been that 71% of their customers book online. And I think that a good portion of this is their use of this technique we just talked about. So, on to our second to last idea. Set specific goals. So I want to share just a little bit from our own recent experience with a website redesign for Western River to illustrate some of these goals. Now, when I look at Google Analytics, I can tell where people came from. I can even see what they did on our website. But what do I most want them to do on our website? I want visitors to make a reservation, call us, or have an online chat with us, or request a catalog in that order. Now, much of this is very trackable, and this is where my frustration comes in. In the past 30 days, Google Analytics tells me we received 61 online reservations and 149 requests for information. Now you might think, hey, that's not bad, until you see this. We had visits from nearly 14,000 users. Now, if I compare the reservations against all online visitors, that's a 0.44% conversion rate for online reservations, and a 1.07 conversion rate for information requests. Now, this may be a little low because we have very little availability this time of year, but let me put that into perspective. Let's say that you have a really nice big theater. You work really hard to try and fill that theater. You spend a lot of time and money. You get 200 people to come for the show. And after about 3 minutes, everyone stands up and walks out. leaving one guy sitting there. This is what is happening on our website with a 0.44% booking conversion rate. But let's compare this. For every lead I can generate from my website, capturing at least an email address from them, I get a 6.76% conversion rate. So that's 0.44% when they just visit the website and I'm not able to capture an email or do anything. They just leave anonymously. Versus nearly 7% when I get an email and plug them in to our follow-up engine through RESMARK. Now on our Moab Adventure Center site, these are a little better. But the point is that if I can capture an email address from these visitors, they are 15 times more likely to convert. Now I am tossing my popcorn in the theater. That's pretty exciting stuff. So, goals and plans. So with this knowledge, we have put together a new website. And we have some very specific goals and plans to achieve those goals. And some of them deal with some of the frustrations that I've just expressed with, the conversion we're getting and so forth. So I'm going to share 10 of these with you just to give you an idea of what types of goals you might be thinking about for your own website. Okay? So, 10 goals. Number 1, consolidate tracking and control. Now, currently we have a separate desktop site and a separate mobile site, and that can be frustrating. The new site will function across all devices with the same content. Okay, what's called a responsive design. Most of us have heard of that, and many of you have websites that do that already. Number 2, we hope to increase our booking conversion rate to 2% or more. Now, what changes are we making to achieve this? Well, on our current site, the prominence of our Book Now buttons is okay, but there's a lot going on this page. On the new site, we have a clear booking button on each trip, but the cool thing is this booking button is sticky, so as you scroll around, it will actually stop and then stay with you at the top and at the bottom. So whenever you're scrolling around that content, no matter where you are, you'll always be able to click that button. And we'll likely test different variations of that to see, what works the best. Now the same button will stick with you throughout the mobile process, which is really nice. For return visitors, we're making sure that our most popular landing pages have a clear way to book all the trips right from that page. I think one of the big problems on a lot of websites is that people will come back to the website for the third or the fourth time. They're ready to buy. They don't need to go somewhere and then dig a layer deeper and dig a layer deeper finally before they get to that Book Now button. If you have a trip listing, make sure you got options to either learn more or book now. And I think we can see great results from that. We want to decrease our bounce rate to 30% and increase our time on site to an average of 5 minutes. Now, we know we want this because we look at our perfect visitors, those who make a purchase, and we see that they spend 7 minutes and 21 seconds on average. Now, some of that time is built into the purchase process, obviously, but I figure if we can target 5 minutes, we'll be getting the type of visitor that is our purchasing type of visitor. So the plan for both the bounce rate and the time on site is the same. We've added greater visual simplicity to the site. So here's our old one, and here's our new one, and we've just taken away a lot and made, hone people in on what we want them to focus on. We've tried to make the imagery more impactful. For each trip, we've added videos that target each of our demographics to try and have helpful content for everyone. Before, we just kind of had, most of this content was on YouTube, actually. We hadn't brought it into our website very well. So here you'll be able to see if you're interested in a wedding anniversary, you relate to that older guy or the woman traveling solo or the multi-generational family or whatever it might be, and you can pick the video or videos that you relate to. We've also added 360 degree video and slideshows to help provoke interest and make people stick on the site longer. And these are a lot of fun to play with on the website if you haven't seen them yet. We've also used buttons and clickable video images for our primary navigation to entice visitors to dig a little deeper on the website. We want to increase our conversion rate for requests to 3%. So how are we doing this? Well, we've added a new expedition guide for every trip with a fantastic summary of all the most important detail. We're featuring this throughout the website. When people view it, on our landing page or modal window, we want to increase our conversion of them by filling out that form to 15%. So we'll be testing all sorts of landing pages like this, and modal windows or full landing pages, and trying to figure out which of those will get us to that 15% level. With all the new email addresses we'll be capturing, we want to increase the conversion rate of those leads to 10%. So we're reviewing our automated follow-up emails and making them even more helpful, fun, and personal. And the ninth one we're doing is one of the most important things for us with a website change is that we can maintain and improve our search engine rankings. So we've added deeper content for every trip. We've put in categories for popular terms related to our business. And hopefully that will help overall to maintain that. And our last one is we want to overall make a better experience for our visitors. And that's what drove a lot of this in the first place. So easy that even the smallest of adventurers can easily browse our website. So if you have any questions about some of those ideas, this website's being done right here in-house by RESMARK Interactive, and they can share a lot of those ideas with you and others that we've put in place on that new site. I don't have time to go through all of them today, but a lot of best practices that we're learning from here internally every day, and would love to be able to share that with you. So the very last idea. Now this is not a full idea. It's a 3/4 idea. Why? Because it's not yet reality. It is virtual reality. Now, I don't know how many of you have seen one of these, but this is the Samsung Gear VR. There are other variations of it, but inside it, you can view the world in virtual reality. And we've created several videos and still images for our trips, and we're actually going to have these in our store for people to put on and check out this virtual experience. They'll be able to take tours of Arches National Park, go down the river, see our Hummers. Hopefully we won't stop selling tours completely, but we'll create some buzz that, people will go out of the store and say, you got to go down and check that out. That was so cool. This is a really new thing for people. I think in a couple years, everybody will have tried these. A lot of people are going to own them. The headset's only $99, so they're very easy to get, and you're going to see this start to take off if you haven't already. So there's a very small pool right now that we can be part of, and we've posted some of these videos up in these 360 apps. We already have thousands of views on them because there's just not that much of it out there yet. So really neat opportunity. And again, we've got some great contacts I can hook you up with there if you're interested in having some of that shot for you this year to get some 360 content. And we'll also be sending out an email with a lot of these ideas and so forth. So,
and just to add to that too, Brandon, it is so new that luckily where we live here, we've got the Sundance Film Festival going on this week up in Park City, and that's a big buzz up there right now. There's a lot of areas and a lot of booths where you can go in and experience those exact goggles right there. And so I saw groups of people learning how to, it's super simple. You don't really have to be taught how to use it, but they were almost taking a class together and seeing that. Mm-hmm. So really still new. I agree.
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks, Brandon. Some really great ideas. And I've got 2 more ideas to add. One, if you're not already using RESMARK and you want to check out a free trial, visit resmarksystems.com, and that's going to give you that online booking process that Brandon showed you that they implemented there on their website, and give you an opportunity to capture those sales. If you're already a RESMARK user and or not, and you want to get a quote for anything, help with your website, your marketing, make sure you visit resmarkinteractive.com. So, in fact, that's what I had a couple questions that came over, and somebody had written in that said, I love these website suggestions near the end, and I want to leverage some of them, but I no longer feel like my webmaster cuts the mustard. Who does yours? And as Brandon mentioned, we actually do it in-house through RESMARK Interactive. You can go onto their website, or you can send an email to hello@resmarkinteractive.com, and either Chad or Kevin or somebody else will get back to you. One of the other questions was, again, to remind you about waiver sign. Somebody asked about the digital waiver process. So again, go on to waiversign.com or send an email to help@waiversign.com. and we
I mean,
can
that
get in
stuff
touch with
is
you.
both of those, Chip, I think are great. We've just added some new people for RESMARK Interactive, so if you need help with anything website marketing wise, certainly be in touch with us. We got a little more bandwidth to help out there, and some great insight. I think it's nice that we can take some of what we were learning internally with our own companies here, our own redesigns and so forth, and just share that with you and help apply that to you.
Absolutely.
And if you're, the waiver sign thing you mentioned, Chip, I mean that, the cost is nothing compared to what you get out of having all that stuff digitized and the emails just flowing into RESMARK automatically, like.
And that's a solution whether you use RESMARK as your reservation system or not.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a lot more integrated when you've got RESMARK as the reservation system in place, but not required. So anyway, Brandon, thanks again for your expertise, your ideas, and everybody else, thanks again for joining, and we hope to be with you next time.